Here we are back on the #1 real estate and business podcast in Metro Richmond.
Are we doing what everybody does now?
Yes,
We're just
yes.
self-proclaimed
with our 4 viewers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the longest running real estate business podcast
All
in Metro
7
Richmond.
of us here today.
Yeah, I don't know if
Welcome
any of
back.
that's true, but I'm
It's
going
all
with
right.
it.
It doesn't
So,
matter. You just got to say it enough times.
There's
People
been-
think it's true.
There's been a lot of them popping up lately.
Yeah. How is so many people #1? That's
Everybody's
what I want
#1.
to know.
There's so many #1 real estate teams in Richmond.
It's
They're
a
all
little
#1.
excessive.
It's just a little bit. So before we get started, you wanna talk about that tattoo you want to get?
Yeah. I do, actually. My itty bitty tiny little tattoo.
Yeah, you want me to tell you how bad it hurts?
I don't care. I don't feel pain.
We know.
You can't hurt me at this point in my career. Good luck.
So what's your thoughts on tattoos?
I like them. I was raised Mormon, so I mean, you got to give me a little bit of a break here.
Yeah.
I feel like some people are like, I admire them. The commitment to just like, you don't care whatsoever. Like they're just covered in whatever. And you're like, oh, what's that about? And they're like, I just wanted it.
Got it last Friday.
Yeah. Like I have an issue with commitment, clearly.
Yeah.
And I cannot fathom just like going in, dropping tons of money, sitting through a bunch of pain for something that you're like, I just did it. Like it doesn't even hold any meaning. There's nothing to it. It's just like, why not? I was
Thought it
bored.
looked cool.
Yeah. And they do look cool. I'm like, man, you're so much cooler than me. But I have like any tattoos that I get will have to have like meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a Leo. It's that deep. But like,
Oh, here we go.
I know.
They made up astrology nonsense.
I'm a Taurus.
See, she gets it.
I don't know anything about
What
it.
are you? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Aquarius.
It'll tell me.
Oh, wow.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes.
makes sense.
that actually
Oh,
does.
yes.
Make
Oh my
sense.
God.
That's why we're friends.
I'll take your word on it.
Fine.
my friend, she's also a Taurus. So whenever we walk into a room, she's like, Taurus trouble.
Yeah,
So there's 2 of us.
you get it, right, Sid?
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
Anyways, so when you gonna get this tattoo?
I don't know. I literally almost did it the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to
We're
get
going
one.
to go together.
I know. I was sitting in the tattoo shop. I was doing piercings, and then I was like, why not? And then I thought I'd be kind of lame if I did it like by myself, just on a whim.
Yeah.
So
Well-
plus you can't swim, right? That's a thing. Like you can't get
couple
them like
weeks.
submerged in water.
Just a couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
It's
All right.
basically
That's
after
good
they
to
heal.
know. Okay.
I mean, everybody's different, but mine's usually done in a week and a half, and I'm
Okay.
pretty healed up by then.
All right.
So
And I'm way younger than you, so I should be fine. I should be fine.
yours don't get infected now.
Probably. Let's be real.
So has your grandmother died, Courtney? I mean, what's going on with tattoos? Because
No, not
well,
yet.
she can't get tattoos until her grandmother dies.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's,
Yeah, we talked about this on like an old podcast.
yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
so
like
it's
a
okay.
whole
It's okay to
thing.
talk
Just
about.
put them where she can't see
Hey,
them.
well, here's the thing. She lives in Florida
Oh.
by the pool.
So when she goes
the
and visits
beach.
them,
So the only
just
places.
just gaslight her. Be like, Grandma,
'Cause
your
last time we-
eyesight is going. I don't even know what you're talking about.
we talked about her getting like a ghost on a skateboard on her butt or something, so her grandma can't see it.
I don't want it on my
Jumpsuit.
butt.
That's fair. No, I would just tell her she's hallucinating.
Well, that's
tell old
why
people
that's
anything.
why I was like okay with getting the little one that I have on my shoulder. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's small enough that I could be like, what?
Yeah.
What
be
do you
like, that's
mean?
a freckle.
Yeah,
What are
I'm
you
sunburned.
talking about? Yeah. Sue
We
me.
went, a couple of us, after a networking meeting. Somebody wanted to go get something to eat.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you went and got tattoos. I was
No.
like, wait a minute.
No,
These
my
are the
tattoos.
networking
Tattoos.
events I want to go
tattoo
to.
parties. No, I would never do a tattoo party. That sounds ridiculous. But anyways, that's
Sounds
the thing.
scary.
By
It's a thing.
ridiculous.
People will bring like a tattoo artist to their house, and it's a tattoo party.
There was I saw a thing on TikTok where a wedding brought in a tattoo
Yeah.
artist and people were getting tattoos
Yeah,
at
I'm
the
not
wedding.
doing that. It's
Why?
literally an open wound, and you're not going to be.
You
kneeling
were
me.
in the military, Sidney.
I know, and one of my tattoos was in Turkey when we hit Turkey in I think some dude's apartment that didn't speak English.
That's
He's like,
crazy.
absolutely not. Can
But
it be
that
at a
was the
wedding
Navy-
with a
that was like
sterile
the most
environment,
Navy-
but in Turkey in
That
some
was
random
20
guy's house?
That was 20 years ago. That was the Navy thing to do.
It was like probably in
along
the
with everything.
desert. What are you talking about?
No. The other one I got was in Spain, but that was a legit shop though. But anyways, so we nothing bad's happened. I didn't get hepatitis.
That you know of. You don't go to the doctor.
I do
What?
too. I get blood work.
That's a lie.
But we went out to eat, and we went to one of the last remaining Hooters that's out there.
R.I.P.
I miss it. I grew up into Hooters.
So
I did.
I was asking a question. I don't even remember what the question was of the table. So the waitress walks up. I was like, "Hey, legit question, super serious." And she's like, "Are you talking about the tattoo on my ass?"
Oh my God, I remember this
Yeah,
story.
I was like, "No," but since you brought it up,
Let's go there. Change of plans.
yeah. So she showed the whole table her tattoo on her ass and whatnot.
What was your original question for her?
I don't even remember what it was now. I mean, I still asked it. I think it had to do with like ketchup on steak or some nonsense. Because I think Ashley was like, "Oh, I eat ketchup on steak."
She
or
really
something.
took you for a better ride there.
She
then.
really
She
did.
really just helped
She
you out.
really did. Yeah, yeah. But she's like, sometimes she doesn't cover it all the way with her shorts. So I guess other customers ask her.
Well,
about
it's so difficult, I'm sure,
so
when you're
difficult.
wearing a napkin on your whole.
Yes. But she legit just, I was like, "Are you going to talk about my ass and the tattoo?" I'm like, "Well, not, I mean, now, yeah.
Yeah,
since you
now
brought it
we
up, that wasn't the
absolutely
original
are.
question. But my brother-in-law has a USDA grade A stamp tattooed on his butt, and he will show it to you anywhere, anywhere. First time I saw it was at a steakhouse, so
All right.
as did the waitress and half the restaurant.
I'll keep that in mind for
Yes.
when I ever meet.
Yes, so,
Noted.
yeah. So, anyways, that'll be fun. That'll be fun for you.
That will be fun for me.
Hurts super bad.
Me.
So,
No, it's so fun. It depends on where you get it. Like
does.
mine didn't start hurting until she was like done. Because I was like, oh, this is starting to feel uncomfortable. And then she's like, all right, we're done. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah.
You guys, I've gotten stitches with not an ounce of like lidocaine, numbing cream, nothing. Like you cannot hurt me. There's no way.
Most of the time, it's not the actual tattoo. It's just, it starts to get raw after several hours, depending
Yeah,
on how big it is.
I could see that.
'Cause
Yeah, I do hear it feels like a sunburn after a while. Like it just like feels like if someone was like poking a sunburn
Pretty
over
much.
and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're poking the same area
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Especially if there's like a lot of shading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the one I
That's
got yesterday,
why
that's all it was shading.
I don't.
After a while, I was like,
I don't want one with shading. I like the just the line art ones.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah, the like fine line or
Line,
whatever they
yeah.
are. Yeah.
Lifeline, life alerts.
But life alerts. No.
Yeah, life alert tattoo.
No, you got to be careful with the fine line ones because they like
Spread.
yeah, but that's not there's a word for it.
Hmm.
It's not bleed out, but it's like where they
Yeah.
get fuzzy. So if you do like
Really?
really small ones, after a couple years it'll get fuzzy and you can't even tell what it is anymore.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good to know because that's what I wanted.
Yeah, so you
mine
gotta
will
be
like
careful.
tiny.
Yeah, you have to. It has to be at least big enough to where if it does, like when it, because it's not a if, it's a when.
Yeah.
When it does do that, you can still recognize it.
Good to know.
Mm.
All right.
My sister
Fun
had a
fact.
tattoo on like hip, stomach area. It was a rose, and when she got pregnant, it turned into a tree. She didn't think it was as funny as I did.
Did it turn back into a rose?
It
or?
did. It did.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about money.
All right. My two favorite topics.
Absolutely. So,
We spent it all on tattoos. Now we got to earn it all back.
Yeah. You gotta
Right.
replenish the fund.
yeah, that's why I'm making everybody take inspections that they don't want to take. Support my hobby.
Yeah.
So, one of the hard things in business that people don't realize when you're starting a business is the money side of things. You look at, hey, I want to go and I'm going to charge this much for an inspection, this much for my commission. And if I do this much, I'm going to make this much, and it all goes into my bank account.
Wouldn't that be nice?
And then at the end of the year, you're like, man, I made, $100,000. Why am I negative?
Yeah.
So what happened there? So one of the things with the home inspection industry that's quite fascinating is I would say up until recently, but I don't even know if that's true because there's so many new inspectors that come into the market that start at the low price points. But the fees didn't move for like 20 years, right? They were $350 20 years ago. They're $350 today for like a lot of home inspectors. So you get into that world where you start increasing prices and whatnot, and then you start getting that, well, you're too expensive. You know, the other guy's $100 cheaper and whatnot. So you really got to figure out, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but in the very beginning, you know, what I did was I shopped a couple inspectors to kind of see where they were. And that's how I set my initial pricing. But it was just me, right? And this was before COVID. So, and there's very much a difference between single inspectors and multi-inspector companies, right? So when we merged with MPI, or I bought out MPI, you know, one of the things that we had to do was start raising prices, you know, because now there's more overhead because I have a Courtney to pay for.
And she is pricey.
So one of the hard things to do is start raising prices, right? And there's a couple different things down about that. One, the hard thing to get over was, for me, was wanting to make sure that we could still be accessible to those who just didn't have a lot of money for home inspections, to make sure they still got a good home inspection without having to pay more than what they had, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, you know, you just got to realize, like, well, I also got to make money.
Yeah.
Right. So as much as I want to stay in a certain price point, it's just impossible. So for us, there was a couple of different things, you know, Courtney alluded to before we started about, you know, price increases and whatnot. And for us and a lot of companies, because it happened really, really fast, not just home inspection companies, but companies across the board, restaurant, especially the restaurant industry. But when inflation hit, and it hit so hard and so fast, that all of a sudden, like, we were okay, then all of a sudden we're running into negative, right? Because of gas, insurance, like our vehicle insurance tripled, like at the end of the policy.
Yeah.
Like legit went from like $1,500 to like the quote came in at like $4,000. You know, because the insurance company's getting wild. So one of the things that we had to do was figure out how to raise prices without shocking people. So talking to another company and what they did, and it works pretty well, is just every so often, you know, we did 4 to 6 months, pretty much 6 months, twice a year, raise it $10, $15, right?
Yeah, you gotta stair step it.
Yeah. So that way it's like, oh, well, it was 300 yesterday and it's 100 or, you know, 450 today. You can't.
Yeah, they might notice that.
They're going to notice that. So, but it's like I said, it's a challenge because for a lot of people, that's, you know, we'll get those comments like, well, you're really expensive now. Look, everything's really expensive now, right? And I actually had this one comment in a class over at RER. We were sponsoring, and they asked our prices. I said they're about ready to go up, and an agent legit said, I wish I could give myself a pay raise. And I said, in my typical self, I said, well, haven't homes appreciated, you know, since COVID started? Well, yeah. So if you sell the same house that you sold 6 years ago, are you not making more? And then she didn't have anything else to say. Right. So the market dictated that you got a pay raise, assuming that, you know, we use the standard 3% across the board, right? Or whatever you charge.
Say that, Sidney.
Whatever you charge, right? But if you charge 2%, 3%, then, and you charge the same thing now, that house costs more, so you make more off that house.
I still also love that from the perspective, like, number one, you're absolutely right. And number two, you do own that business. It is your, like, sole proprietorship or your LLC or whatever. If you want to increase your prices or change your fee structure or whatever, like, you are completely free to do that. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, because, I mean, nobody goes into business to be poor. No. Right? To not make money. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal, is to make money. And, when you're working adjacent to an industry that's always flashing all the money. So it's, part of it's like, well, why are you the only one making the money? I'm allowed to make money too.
Yep.
So for us, it's really hard. Clients don't ever care. And that's the thing. I mean, yeah, we get price shoppers from clients and that's fine.
Yeah.
But, for as busy as we are, we don't really get a lot of clients that call us and complain about the pricing.
No.
Right. The ones that complain are the agents that are scheduling, and they're not the ones paying for it.
It is weird to me that they have an opinion. I don't think I've ever even asked you. Like, I give the clients a range, but I tell them it's based off of the square footage. I'm going to have them reach out to you. You'll go ahead and schedule it. You'll pay through your portal. But I don't, it's not my job to go into that.
Yeah.
And, I've prepared you for an appropriate range of what this is going to be. And also, baby, you're buying a house. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars. You should spend a little bit of money to make sure that that's a sound investment.
Yeah.
That's all there is to
at the end of the day, like I said, we talked about before, the average return or net growth for a business is 7%, right? Mm-hmm. So if we make $1 million this year, $70,000 is 7% of that, to keep it easy. So you can look like, oh, wow, well, the company made $70,000. That's after I paid myself, paid all the bills, paid the inspectors, did the insurance, the gas, the tools, the equipment, the software, all the things, right? The marketing, all the things. So the business makes $70,000 at the end of the year. And you're like, well, that's $70,000, and then we get well, why can't you, do more? Well, that $70,000 is there for a lot of things. If the market dips, if something breaks, if we got to pay out for something, if insurance goes up,
it's
gas goes up.
reinvested into the business. At least it should be.
It should be 100%, because we can't go if gas prices go from $3 today to $5 tomorrow, that's going to affect our profit, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't go tomorrow. I mean, you can, but that's not typically how it works. You can't go tomorrow and okay, well, I'm going to raise my prices a lot to offset these costs. So it's a gradual thing, and that's where those reserves come in at, to help cover those costs till you start balancing the books again.
Yeah, right? Or you're applying a fuel surcharge or something like
exactly,
that.
Exactly. So so for us, like I said, it's interesting because home inspection prices have stayed stagnant for so long.
Yeah.
And when you look at how much we're supposed to know, right? And how much studying and all the stuff that goes into it, I'll be the first one to say that we're severely underpriced. Yeah. Even even the companies in the area that charge way more than us, because we're not the most expensive by a long shot. But there are some companies out there that charge more, but they're still underpriced for what we do in the scope of things. Because again, we're talking about, we had a agent call us because, well, he was texting the inspector and said that the price of the house was, for the inspection, if there was any way the client could get a discount because it was just a lot of dollars, right? And the house was an $800,000 house. And because it was newer, the sentiment was, well, it could be an easy transaction or easy inspection. Okay.
Could be.
Let's assume, okay, that you're getting 3%. Let's assume that on an $800,000 house, 20-some thousand, right? That's a lot of money for an easy transaction. So, the question always is, you get yours, let me get mine.
Well, and who is to judge what easy is?
Right.
I get so maybe a little bit defensive, but to me it's okay, if this industry, or if you're looking at somebody else's career or whatever, and you're making comments like that, it's so easy, it's easy money, whatever, you do it. Yeah. That's my response to people now. Go get a license, do exactly what I did. Build a business, do it as fast as I did, as hard as I did, make as much money as I did in the beginning, and then you can say that to me. But until then, no. That's no. Yeah. You don't get to make those comments about what is easy money or what makes something so simple or easy for anybody in any industry.
Yeah.
That's not okay. If you haven't been in those shoes and you don't actually know, especially if you haven't been a business owner, you have no right to say anything. You really don't.
Right. And one of the things that I don't think people understand is like we're commission based. Most home inspections are commission based. And if my inspector, we give a discount, they make less, right? If you cancel last minute, they don't make anything. So it can be a seasonal job too,
Yep.
you know, with the spring market into the slow months. So sometimes that money isn't meant for today, right? It's meant for later on in the year to sustain you when it gets slow because it's an off season, right? Or maybe you're trying to catch up from last year.
Yeah.
That was a bust, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into this, you know, so it's to tell somebody to take less just because your client doesn't want to pay it. Well, you're hurting other people, right? Because again, and I hate to, you know, be a certain way about it, but every single time I've asked a question, did you take less? The answer is always no, right? And I'm always told that's different because that comes out of closing cost. It doesn't. It's not different, right? I mean, me taking $50 less, you know, can be the difference between my inspectors paying the bill, you know, or whatever, versus you taking 2.5% versus 3%. You know, that's several $1,000s. So, but like I said, the difference is that we're, and not just us, but a lot of people gets haggled down a lot in this industry. And I get it because the whole real estate thing is negotiations.
Right. Which I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with people shooting their shot and trying to do the negotiating.
Yeah.
I think that's all fine and good. However, I do think that is my job, right? Is to be good at negotiating. And so I don't bend.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because number one, this is a testament to the fact that no, I will do the same for you. This is like, we will have a conversation and we will work something out, but it will not be where I just fold like a cheap suit. We're not going to do that. And it is my livelihood. Like, this isn't monopoly money we're talking about.
Right.
And so I think it's a really easy thing to judge from the outside. Even I had a conversation with a friend and he was like, yeah, but Mandy, like, so he has a W-2 job, right? Great job. And he was like, but here's the thing. Like, I could bust my ass for 40 to 60 hours a week and I'm not going to make any more money. Yeah. But if you work harder, you'll make more money. And I said, no. I said, I could bust my ass for 40 to 60 hours a week, which I have done, and make nothing, which will happen many, many, many times over in my career. Yeah. So while you're upset that you're at least getting paid, you're just not getting paid more. How would you feel if you were on this side of it, where there are weeks, if not months, where you're putting in full-time work or beyond that and not getting paid?
Oh, 100%. I think that's where a lot of this comes from because agents, they view a lot of this stuff as I work for free until we close, right? And if the client walks away, then yeah, all that stuff is gone, right? You don't get paid at all. And I get that. But you can't approach other businesses thinking that's how they operate too, right? Because we're a volume-based business. If we do 1,500 inspections this year, right, and you do 15 transactions this year, it's because you get paid more per transaction than I do. So that's why we have to do 1,500 inspections, you know, so we can make the living, you know, to where agents, I don't know what a good number is for an agent, you know, 15, 20 transactions a year.
It's a very good number.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know what the average is, right? But to be
like 4.
Yeah, right. But to be able to, you know, have a good year, all your bills are paid, buy the Christmas presents, do the vacation, you know, whatever that number looks like, right? And we're going to do 1 million times more volume than that because that's what our business is, you know, so.
And I think it's why you have to watch your numbers. I mean, I think anybody who's running a business should. I think that paying attention to that and your expenses and all of the numbers and making sure that you're being very careful is super important. But in your industry, where you also have a ton of staff to pay for, this is why I didn't grow when everybody was screaming at me to grow. Because it was like, I'm already stressed enough.
It's stressful.
Trying to just make sure that my salary gets earned. Imagine trying to add everybody else's on top of it.
It's stressful when you start seeing uncertainty, because it's like, man, I've got people to pay for.
Yeah.
Right?
Not only are you worried about feeding your family, all of a sudden you're worried about feeding everybody else's family too.
For sure.
That's a lot of pressure that I don't think people understand until you've walked that path. Like, you look at CEOs and you're like, oh, must be nice. And it's like, do you realize how much pressure is on them at all times?
Yeah. And when you look at our area, I think the other issue is that we've been pretty well insulated because of, for whatever reason, people want to move here.
We've been grossly underpriced for a small city market for a very long time.
We have. And now with the flooding of people since COVID, and it still continues, of how many people just kind of discovered this area to live in, there's several areas that are slow, several areas that's moved to a buyer market. We're still very much probably a seller's market, right?
Yes.
Inventory is going up, but still a seller's market.
We
Still
will be
busy.
for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're pretty well insulated. And yeah, I've heard agents talk about slowing down, especially when the rates went up and all that other stuff. We stayed busy. There was plenty of agents staying busy. But at the end of the day, it was never anything close to, a crash, right? Or a slowdown. Once we got past that 4 or 5 months, 6 months of the rates doubling overnight. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing, is that, well, there's just plenty of work, you can take it cheaper. As the saying goes, you make hay when the sun's out. Mm-hmm. So stack money when you can. That way, when it gets cloudy again, you don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah.
And you start seeing your competition, quote unquote, go out of business because they didn't do that. Mm-hmm. And that's for us. That's for realtors. That's for everybody. But yeah, I think one of the biggest issues, and we can go back to when we talked about, you want to hurt somebody's feelings. You don't work for free. That those checks. And if your client walks out today, they say, I'm done. They go find another agent. They go back to renting. They do whatever they want to do. And then your next client, you don't get paid for all those hours. Mm-hmm. And then your next client, they go to closing. You still didn't work for free. It's just that one closing covered 2 clients. Mm-hmm. Your time for those 2 clients.
And I will say, one of the things when it comes to, I don't per se raise my prices in some areas of my line of work. Yeah. Sure, I have the ability to do that with side things that I do. But the thing that I've learned over the 8 years is to be very, very picky about who I will work for. Because of that. That is my risk in this, is not qualifying you to figure out, is this going to be a giant waste of my time, resources, and also, are you going to put me in the red?
Yeah.
Because I can't have that. So that's the thing that I think on my end, within my industry, that agents need to be very, very careful of. Like, I see rookies make this mistake all the time. They'll be very loud, and I appreciate the hustle, but they're like, my client wants this, and this, and their budget's $250. And it's like, honey, I can promise you that's never going to happen. You're never going to find that. And you have to learn to say no to those people, because you're wasting your time.
I think a lot of agents hang on to clients too long.
100%.
Yeah, that's a good point.
100%. And one of the things that I've realized, so I moved companies recently, and part of that was I felt like if I was ever going to be in leadership, I needed to experience all of the different avenues that an agent could face. And I had never worked leads ever. And so I was like, all right, let's give it a go. What I've come to find out, though, is if you're an agent who is taking leads, you have to qualify those people extra hard because of the cost of obtaining that lead from the get-go. That's even before, my fee is significantly reduced already because of the cost of that lead. And then we're not even talking about business expenses, taxes,
splits,
anything.
and all the things, yeah.
So for me, I'm really stingy with who I will take on, because you already are costing me too much.
Yeah. I've seen those agents that they've had a client for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. They've showed 200 houses.
I will
for.
not take you on if that's
And
your timeline.
at some point, it doesn't matter what that commission check at the end, you're running in the red.
Yeah.
Right. By the time you cash it, like you're done.
Yep.
Like you're not catching up on not just the gas cost of going to show all those homes, but just your time invested. Because again, every hour of the day you can put a dollar value on, and depends on what you think you're worth. You know, all of a sudden you get that commission check, like, oh, well, I made $2.17
So I always say, please don't ever calculate your hourly. You'll cry.
Yeah.
For like 2 weeks straight, you'll cry.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like I said, when I was talking about earlier, when agents ask us to reduce our pricing because the client's struggling with money, and not that we don't want to help clients, because we do a lot of discounts. We do a lot of free stuff to help certain people in certain situations. And I asked a question, did you take a reduced commission? It's not because of jealousy on how much an agent makes per transaction, because being married to an agent and understanding business, I understand that a $20,000 commission check isn't $20,000 going into your bank, right? So, and that could be the last commission check you get for a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever. So it's got to account for all the things, right? So I'm not mad over that. It's just understanding that, hey, you don't want people telling you to take less because you understand your worth and your value. Stop telling other people to take less.
Yeah.
Right. Now, are there companies out there, and we can use, we go into the trades, and there's these national companies or big companies with all the things. And, you know, for example, a friend of mine needed HVAC. One company, $28,000, right? He laughed him out of the house, right? Because it's just a rancher, right? One unit, straight HVAC, nothing else. Another company was 17,000. Another company was 13, right? So
Y'all are wilding out over there in the HVAC world,
yeah.
for the record.
But the sweet spot was really 12 to 15, depending on the company, right?
Sure.
But meaning that you do have that outlier, that's $28,000, right? And you have those companies that are way, way overpriced, you know, because of all the things, but people still use them, you know.
That's the beauty of an open market, though.
Yeah, yeah. So I get that aspect, but the majority of the people that you deal with day in, day out, we're not those companies.
No.
Right? We're trying to be reasonably priced so we can pay our bills, enjoy life, provide for our families, you know, give my kids the things I didn't get, all those things, right?
Yeah. And I think when it comes to your company specifically, one of the things that I hit on, and I think this is another reason where you guys probably have to be really careful and where you do have to implement price increases, is because of the amount of technology that you utilize.
Yeah.
Like I think you're the only one in town who has a robot. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're the only one that I know of.
There's a second one now that I know of, yeah. But that's
so you have your crawl space robot, right?
And those aren't cheap.
Nope.
Yep.
And all the drones.
Yep.
And all the technology you use on the back end.
Everybody's got thermal. Everybody's got drone.
Yeah.
Everybody's got, all that stuff.
So I think that's another thing that people don't realize. And this is something like I personally hit on in my interviews of like, this is why my fee is what it is, because you're getting X, Y, and Z. Same with the builder accounts. Like I don't ever get questions on my fee because you know why it's there. And you know, without a shadow of a doubt, if you talk to other agents, that I'm giving you more, that I'm doing more, that I have more training or more expertise. And so I think for you guys too, it's the same thing. And that's why when I tell people, look, you're free to use whoever you want. If there's a company that you have in mind, please let me know. I'm happy to reach out to them. Happy to help you with scheduling, whatever. This is, if they ask for a referral, these are the names that I give them, and I go over yours. And I'm like, please keep in mind, like there is not a house that they cannot touch. There's not a single crevice that they will not find a way to take the photos and the videos for you and get in there. So I think that's another thing as well. But as you're growing and implementing in your business new things or new technology or new training, you need to then look at it as the whole of I am worth more because I'm giving more. I'm offering
100%,
more.
100%. And we've had, especially with some of these grants with special forms and all the things, do the inspection, do the re-inspection, nothing's done to satisfy whatever rules that they need to close. And we've had times where we've had to go out 3, 4, 5 times, right, to do re-inspections. And that's where it gets really hard because we get asked by the clients, well, do I have to pay for another re-inspection? And for a long time, it was always, no, we just come out because, after the first one. But at some point, again, you got to get into that business mindset. Like, this is taking up an inspection slot. This is taking revenue away. This is taking pay away from the inspector, or I'll just cover the cost and I don't,
And this is where your agent should step in for you.
Yeah.
They should be negotiating, hey, your sellers did not do what needed to be done. So now this is a cost that falls on them.
Yeah.
Or you. Figure it out. I don't care who, but it's not going to be us.
And that's where I go back to, like I said, when agents get into that mindset of where I have to go back out there 4 times and I'm not getting paid because it's for free. You are, right? It just comes at the end. You're still getting paid for that time.
Maybe.
Maybe if it closes, right?
Yeah.
If you're, and I think this is kind of wild. There's no differentiating your fee, right? Meaning that if you charge 3%, that's 3% whether you show 1 house or 50 houses.
This is why I love the idea. Whenever anybody is like, why don't you just charge an hourly? I'm like, baby, you don't want me to do that, but I would love to. Like, I've actually seriously considered restructuring everything about my little company because that would be more advantageous for me. I would make way more money.
For a lot of people, because once you've done this long enough, how much time is invested in the average transaction, right? And that's where you could set your fee.
Yep.
Your percentage based off that, right? However you want to do it. So when you have that house that you have to go back to 6 times just for re-inspections, well, okay, I can do that, but now we got to, lawyers do it, right?
There's so many. I mean, I think of my background was hair, right? And that was how I set my prices is I knew what I wanted to make per hour. Yeah. And I knew what each service, how much time about it would take and what the product costs and all of that. And so, no, I've thought about this so many times, especially because I feel like it would really protect me from people who are just wasting my time.
Yeah.
And I would love that.
And that's how it should be, right? Because like I said, attorneys do that. Attorneys are like, hey, $2,500 to get started.
They bill every 6 minutes.
And once you hit $2,500 and that case becomes more complicated, we're like, hey, we need to re-talk. We're like, you're out of money. We've capped what what your fees covering.
In my ideal world, I would have a retainer with an hourly and probably fuel.
Yeah. Or just, hey, this is what this gets you. I'll show you this many houses,
you get this much of my time for this retainer fee. Once we go beyond that, we're switching into an hourly.
And I think if we did that, there would be a lot more understanding, compassion, whatever you want to use towards other industries, right? When you're asking them like, hey, can you come out for free? Again, not that we don't do that from time to time, but at some point, when you deal with 400 or 500 agents a year, we can't do that for 400 or 500 agents. And that's the other thing, because again, going back from volume of transactions between the industries, is that it's not just you asking me, it's everybody's asking me, because we get that, well, why can't you sponsor this? Because I'm tapped out. Well, I've given you this much business. You're not the only one asking me for money. We get asked all the time for money. So this is why we charge what we charge, right? Because we have to account for all this stuff. If we have to keep giving discounts and doing all these things, then the prices go up a lot faster. That's why when you go, what's the real video, whatever, where they're looking at sales at a retail store and it's not yet. And all of a sudden it's 20% off, but it actually costs more than what it was regular pricing because what stores do, right? It's not really a sale.
Amazon does this all the time.
Yeah. So, because that's what you got to do to offset the money you're going to lose based on the sales and the discounts.
And I think ultimately too, this does go back to like making sure that you are running your business effectively. Like I know each transaction, what my budget is to step in and help out should it be necessary. And it is this amount based off of whatever like range we're in. But beyond that, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, cause I can't, because you will put me in the red. Yeah. I know what my fees are behind the scenes. They're not cheap.
Yeah. And there is a time, like I said, most people, when they start a business, everything's cheap because you're just trying to get started. Yeah. Right? I'm just trying to get a door, trying to get started. And that's understandable. One of the things that I learned and I always tell people to do, like, if you're going to start off discounting prices, you need to make it very clear, hey, I'll do it for $300 this time. My normal fee is.
Mm-hmm.
That way it's easier to get back to what a normal fee would be when it's time to raise those prices, right? And that way there's like, in 2 weeks when that fee is $200 more, you don't have that sticker shock, right? Well, it was $300 last time.
Or offer more value.
Yeah.
Those are your two options
yes,
when you're starting out.
Options, yeah.
I mean, I used to paint people's houses. I would clean them. Like, you got a whole lot for Mandy's fee back in the day. Now I'm like, absolutely not. I will give you a referral for someone to do that. But yeah, I think those are your only two options when you're starting out. You either, kind of set the precedent that this is a discounted rate for now, but this is what I charge, or you're charging what you charge, but you're getting additional and you're making that known as well.
For sure. So, I mean, it's not easy. You really got to sit down and figure out, and it's going to take a while when you start a business. You got it, because you don't truly understand all the things that go into it for at least a year. And I say a year because taxes, right? Once tax time comes. And that's what a lot of people dismiss, especially when you have a payroll, right? That was a hard lesson learned. What do you mean payroll tax? I got to pay more money just because I hire people?
Sure do.
But you want me to hire people to grow business? Yeah, makes sense, right?
Sure.
So once you figure out, like, oh, okay, now it's not just that. Now my business license is based on how much I make, right? And it's not net, it's gross. So you can run, 20% in the red. The county doesn't care. They still want their $2,000 because you made X amount of dollars, right? So all those different things that you have to figure out. So it's going to take a good year, if not more, for you to truly figure out where you need to be in your pricing.
And it changes every year.
It does change. It changes every year. Sometimes, depending on inflation, it can change, week to week. Because like I said, the restaurant industry is hit hard because of inflation, and where they get their goods and how fast, the whole, chicken flu that killed all the eggs. Throw all those eggs away. Eggs went to $10 a dozen.
Ridiculous.
And a restaurant can only eat those costs for so long making your omelets before they got to raise those omelet prices.
Yep.
So it's going to take a while for you to figure out what your costs are, but you got to figure it out though.
You do.
And when a company, that's why a lot of times when you see companies in the beginning, the first 2, 3, 4 years, their prices can be all over the place because they're still trying to figure out and balance it, especially in the growth phase. Right. Because it costs a lot to train people. It costs a lot to outfit somebody. That's the other side of it. At some point, I'm going to add another inspector. We got one training now. It's not cheap to train an inspector because I'm paying 2 people for one inspection, plus all the things I need to buy. Right. And then again, future growth and all that stuff. So all that goes into the fee. And if you think a $300 inspection is going to cover all that, it's not. It's not in 2025.
And I think on my end of it, from the classes that I've taught, I would love to create like a side business that is the financial coaching for agents specifically.
Yeah.
Because what I see is a lot of agents seeing these really big checks, not realizing like, you're not keeping that. Yeah. That's not yours. Yeah. And so if you aren't keeping a finger on that and understanding what's coming next and understanding what needs to go where and really keeping track of all of that. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say probably about 60 to 70% of agents are actually operating in the red.
Oh, 100%.
They're really not actually making any money.
100%.
Or they're just treading water.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of them have different, whether they have some rentals, whether they have a disability from the military or a spouse or whatever. And I say disability from the military because you get percentages. I'm not saying you can't work. There's plenty of guys with 100% military disability. That's firefighters, cops, realtors, lawyers, doctors, and they get that check every month. And so so they don't worry about it as much. But at some point, like, you don't run a business like to run in the negative. And this is too much work for it to be a hobby.
Yeah.
Way too much work, right?
That's what I tell people.
Like,
they're like, I'm going to make it a side hustle. I'm like,
that's way too much money.
You're going to spend a lot in sanity for that side hustle.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not a secret at this point. Like we have a mobile bar business.
Yeah.
It's a side hustle, right? Once the initial loan is paid off, whether we do it or not, doesn't matter, right? Anything we do beyond that, 2 gigs a year is all we would need to pay for the insurance and the software, right? After beyond that, it's what do we want to do it or not? Like, that's a side hustle, right? But having a real estate license somewhere, you have to pay money for that.
A lot
because of the association fees and the certifications and all the things,
all
right?
the access, yep.
So you have to pay for that. So yeah, that's not really a side hustle thing that you just kind of.
Not if you're being very effective too. And I think if you're providing actual value to your clients, no, I don't. I really don't feel good about that, knowing how much work should go into it.
It's a lot.
And having the privilege of working with really good agents as well, and seeing how much they invest time and money into their business.
Yeah. Because, woodworking, that's a hobby for me. That costs me a lot of money. Right? Jiu-jitsu costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? Those are hobbies. This should not be a hobby.
No.
Right? Because this is designed to make you money.
And you're also representing somebody in the largest financial transaction
Yes.
of their life. So maybe
That
don't
too.
treat it like a hobby.
too.
That's a little bit of a slap in the face. Little rude.
A little rude. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, this isn't to bash anybody or anything. It's just trying to bring some clarity to the other side of it.
Yeah.
And realize that when you're calling somebody just to price shop or ask for discounts for no other reason than just to get your client a better deal, like it shows a lack of respect, to the people you're working with. Because again, if you don't want people asking you to take a discount, don't ask other people to take a discount. I had work on our HVAC last week while we were gone. I texted my HVAC guy. I don't ask for discounts.
Yep.
I said, hey, DJ at my house. When can you do it? If he gives me a discount, cool.
Yep.
But I don't ask for it.
Nope.
I use him because he's good, because I trust him at my home. Same thing. When I need a new roof, I know who I'm going to call. Not because I give them business or refer them business and I expect a discount. They charge me full price. Don't care. Right? Because I trust them and I want to support them in their business.
100%.
And there's this mentality that when we create this circle of networking of professionals, so we get favors from them. And that's absolutely just bizarre to me.
The favor that I do get from my vendors and from those relationships is the one that I value the very most, is that they will answer my call, they will answer my text, and they will do everything
100%.
to put me first.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate that.
Except for Jeff. I'm friends with Jeff.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, because he takes me to lunch and pays for it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. He's a sugar daddy.
That's right. That's right. But
Right.
no,
You always need one.
Yeah. But when I call him for stuff, like, is he going to give me a discount? Yes, he is. Right. Do I ask for it? No.
Right.
Do I expect it? No. One of our inspectors a few weeks ago, well, probably about a month or two ago now, they broke a cabinet door in the bathroom. Right. Pants got caught on the little knob.
Oh, no.
Broke it right in two. Ripped it apart.
Ruined your day.
Yes. But I know a guy, right? I said, hey, can you fix this? Send him pictures. He says, yep. How much? $150 to $250. Cool. Right? That's what you charge. I don't care. I just need it done. Dropped it off. Says it's ready. All right, how do you want me to pay you? Don't worry about it. I said, you run a business. Like, I'm not looking for charity.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but you're not looking for charity, right? Like, you run a business. Like, I need to pay you something.
Yeah.
But that's their decision, though. Like, don't go into it.
No, it's not an
expecting
entitlement ever.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're trying to figure out your prices, you have to. And again, we set our prices because things like that happen, right? I have to pay for that. That inspection, in theory, if he would have took my money, would have cost me money. Right? I would have lost money on that inspection after I paid the inspector, the gas, all the things associated with that inspection, plus the repair. I'm in a negative. I can't go back to the client like, hey, need to make money on this inspection. I got to raise
Right.
your price $250. You know, that's not how that works. We screwed up. So that's where again you set your prices because those things are going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get a flat tire and have to pay for it. Yep. You know, so all those things. You know, you're going to blow an engine in your car.
Between the tires and the end, I can't. Yeah. I just need to stop driving.
So, so when you're out there and especially as an agent, as a home inspector, as a lender, as whoever, you know, this goes for all the trades too, anybody in business, but especially like in real estate because of the ups and downs. Like when you're talking about how slow it is and how much you need a deal, so does everybody else. You know, it may not be in sync with your downtime.
Yeah.
But at some point we're going to have a downtime.
Yep.
And so be mindful when you're trying to haggle, right? And you don't know till you ask, and I get that. Like I'm never going to fault somebody for asking. Don't get mad.
Right.
Don't be rude about it.
No.
Don't yell.
And it's not a place of entitlement.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's what this really comes from. Because we do get that. We've had agents yell at us because we won't give a discount for a $1 million home.
No.
Yeah. Like,
hard no.
You know?
Yeah.
So, or we won't come back out for a third time for free. You know, I just can't. I can't keep burning money, right? It's not fair to my inspectors. It's not fair to me.
And the work that you do, and I think you have to learn to stand confidently in that. And there was an attorney who I learned this from. He came to me for some services. The thing that he needed me to do literally takes me 30 minutes to do these services over and over again. And he was like, what would you charge me to do this? And I was like, don't worry about it. It'll take 20 to 30 minutes. I'll just like knock him out. And he was like, absolutely not, Mandy. He said, don't you ever say that again to anybody. Your service and your time is worth money. Don't question that. And like hearing that from an attorney, I was like, you know what? You're right. Like 30 minutes is still 30 minutes of my time. And you're asking me to do this over and over again, which turns into 5 hours of work a week.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
That's worth something.
It is. And that's where you got to figure out when we go back into the work-life balance, right? Yep. Your time means something. If you want to donate that time, cool.
That's your
Typically,
decision.
when something comes in that I feel is going to be the quote-unquote charity case, right? I'm going to do this for free because of a situation. You know, we had one where an agent called me and the buyer was a woman getting out of a very abusive relationship and didn't have any money, just trying to get her kids out of that situation.
Yeah.
Do it for free, right?
Yep.
I'm doing that though, right? I'm not putting one of my inspectors on the spot.
Your pro bono.
Yeah, you know, or if I say I can't do it and I do send one of my inspectors, I'm still going to pay them, right? But most of the time, I'm going to take that on because, that's my time, right? Yep. I'm choosing to do that for free in theory because, again, you know, am I going to get more business from that agent? Sure, right? But at that moment, I'm going to take my time out of my day for free and go and do it. So it's understanding that you have that side of it, but also, you know, be mindful that you don't have, again, that work-life balance that we have to realize that this isn't, I don't want to do this 7 days a week either. So especially when half of it's for free, right? Or discounted rates or whatever. So, and so, you know, because we had someone not that long ago call. They wanted a Saturday at noon inspection. We didn't have anybody available. They got mad. Like, why are you mad at us? Like, either we're off or we're booked, right? It doesn't matter which. It's a combination of the two, but it doesn't matter, right? Don't get mad because I don't want to miss my kids' whatever. Baseball game, soccer game. I don't want to get off the couch, right? I just want to mentally unload for a day. You know, that's why you have windows. That's why you have a 7-day period, you know, 10-day, 5-day, 14-day, 30-day for some really amazing agents. So just don't be mad at people because they're prioritizing certain things.
No, absolutely not.
So anyways, that's my TED Talk for the day.
I like it. I support it.
Yeah? Any final words?
No, I agree with you. I think it's just a matter of like, you know, we have to allow the humanity back into business and let people have their lives and understand that they're trying to fund their lives. And also you need to ditch your entitlement. It's not a good look.
Yeah. And I really think that agents as a whole, the industry as a whole has to figure out a better way, right?
Yeah. With so many things.
With so many things, but especially with the pay, right?
Yeah. And with the treatment of vendors, this is something I feel very passionately about.
Yeah. Because again, like I said, I always talk about when we, I talked to an attorney yesterday about a case that a client's going through, not against us, against the builder. We just have to be part of it. So I was talking to the attorney for the client, and I told her, I said, because she asked the question about, would you call the county or city, in this case the county, to come back out and re-inspect the house because there were some significant issues in the house, structural issues. And I said, one of the things I learned when I worked for local government was that you have one person who works really, really hard, do all the things, and they get paid every 2 weeks. And you have another person, well, I'm not going to do all that. I get paid just as much as you, right? And I'm doing way less, and I'm way less stressed. Every department in every city, every county, every state, every federal government office has those people, right? And I think realtors have that. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You have agents that work really, 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 really hard, and they're making the same amount of money as the agent who never answers their phone. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think something should change in that mindset. Like, whether that's like you were talking earlier, your fees, right? Change that fee structure.
I would love to, or give you the option.
Give you the option.
This is my percentage-based fee structure. Yeah. This is another option because if you're somebody who's going to come in and we're going to put you in a house in 30 days, great, let's go.
Yeah, and just be honest with the client. Like, hey, this is what I charge. This is your price point. This is what I charge. This is what this is going to get you. If we get to 10 houses and we ain't made a decision yet, we got some things to talk about, right? Yep.
Or that would be the point that I move into an hourly structure with you.
Something, right?
Yeah.
And I think that would, like I said, I think that would change how the money is viewed, right? So, anyways.
I like it.
All right. Well, I think Courtney's taking a nap on the floor.
Till next time.
Till next time.